Could your teacher be replaced by a robot? Hi everyone! So today we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to try reading a BBC News article. Now BBC stands for British Broadcasting, and it's a free online resource that you can use anytime. Actually, I recommend that you read it quite regularly because it's really useful to help you with your vocabulary and also understanding different grammars as well. And also it can help you to keep updated with the news. Now, the BBC article we're looking at today is Could Your Teacher Be Replaced by a Robot? This is from the Newsround articles. So Newsround is I think traditionally it was a TV program. And it's been on for a long, long time. When I was younger, I'll admit, I didn't watch it because I was a kid, I wasn't really interested in the news. But these news articles are presented in a really accessible way. So in other words, they use kind of simpler vocabulary and they explain things in a bit more detail than the normal bbc.co.uk website. So if you're a bit more advanced in your English learning, maybe you want to try www.bbc.co.uk/news for your articles. But if you'd like something a bit easier, a bit more accessible, then this is for you. But also I think they do have some pretty good topics. So could your teacher be replaced by a robot? Maybe you're still in school, maybe you still have teachers at school, or maybe you can just think back to the time when you had a teacher. Think about the technology you had in your classroom. I know when I was a child, we had interactive whiteboards, and none of the teachers knew how they worked, so they were rarely used. As a teacher in classrooms myself, I also tried to avoid very tricky to use, I think. But how about other technology? Your actual teacher being a robot. Have a think. How do you feel about that? My initial reaction is I think it's a bit scary, personally. But let's scroll down and see what we have here. Looking at this picture, how does this gentleman make you feel? Because I feel slightly uneasy. Looks like a human, is not a human. This is a robot. So let's have a scroll down. Tell me in the comments anytime you get some inspiration. Oh, this guy's creepy, or he looks quite handsome. Some of my students have said, this guy, very handsome. I wouldn't mind him teaching me. But for me, he makes me a bit uneasy. But let's scroll down here. While we're going through this article, let me make it a bit bigger for you. There we go. While we're reading this article, I will model the pronunciation, so I'll read it. Feel free to pause the video and repeat after me, because some of the words, even though Newsround is kind of targeted for native English children or teenagers, some of the words are still quite difficult. So let's have a look through. I'll read it first, and then I'll explain some kind of idioms or vocabulary that I think would be maybe difficult. Let's have a look. So I'll begin here. Clickety click. Sometimes it still sounds like something from the movies. But robots, holograms, and self-driving vehicles are no longer technology from the distant future. They're already here to stay. Okay, that's the first part. It's in bold because it's kind of almost like a subtitle, but it's kind of an important point, important introductory point. That's why it's in bold. Okay, something from the movies. Yep, I think so. It does sound like something that's not real life. But robots, holograms, clickety click. Holograms, what are holograms? Well, I'll put a picture because it's easier to explain through image. But a hologram is basically one of those see-through, kind of projected 3D images. There's been a couple in the news in the past, like Michael Jackson, for example, having the hologram in your living room and he can perform for you in the living room because he's a hologram. Okay, so it's a 3D projected image. I don't think everyone has access to holograms these days, but I think probably we'll have holograms in the future. I don't know, what do you think? I'm pretty sure we'll have holograms in the future, and I think that would be quite cool. Yeah, I'd love to watch my hero in my living room. But I think there are some issues or some problems that can arise because of holograms, like getting permission to have someone in your living room performing these kind of things. There can be some issues. Let me know if you think of any other issues in the comments below. And self-driving vehicles, clickety click. Oh no, oh no. Okay. My highlighting control is out of control. So self-driving vehicles, it's as it sounds. So vehicles, meaning cars or lorries or trucks, most things with four wheels. So vehicles that can drive by themselves, so without someone to operate them. And I've found that people have different opinions about this. Some people say self-driving cars or vehicles, amazing, right? I can just sit and read a book while my car drives me wherever I need to go. Fantastic. But other people think maybe it could be a bit of an issue. Some people love to drive, like me, I love driving. In the UK, we drive manual cars. So we have to really think about driving and kind of master it as a skill. Automatic is, I tried driving automatic cars in Japan and very easy, too easy, I think. So I think so I think automatic cars, not as good as manual cars, but that's just my preference. I know other people think manual cars, why? What's the point? When we can do it easier, why would we do it the hard way? But I don't know. I think there's just some nice feeling when you put it in gear and you can go forward and you can change gear. And yeah, there's just a nice kind of skill element to it, which I think is good. Getting back to self-driving vehicles, there are some problems with self-driving vehicles, I think, such as if there's going to be an accident, how do you decide what the car does? You can't decide. And other ethical problems with self-driving vehicles. So the rest of this sentence, these vehicles are no longer technology from the distant future. They're already here to stay. So they're not something we can think about as being, as going to happen in our future, because they're already happening now, apparently. Well, we know the holograms are happening now. Self-driving vehicles, I'm sure there's some prototypes or things like that. I went to, I forget which country, maybe it was Singapore, and they had self-driving trains, and I was quite surprised, to be honest, quite surprised. I didn't quite trust it, to be honest, for some reason. But yeah, tell me what you think. All right, let's read the next section. Artificial intelligence sometimes gets a hard time, especially in Hollywood, with many films showing robots taking over the world. But other experts say machines and technology could also be a huge force for good, creating and improving jobs, safety, healthcare, and education. Well, let's begin at the top. Artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI. Okay, AI, artificial intelligence, sometimes gets a hard time. Well, what's a hard time? Well, this basically means people kind of are not nice about it. They give it some difficulty. So, for example, people say artificial intelligence is creepy, scary, kind of like what I said. You can't trust it. So it gives a lot of criticism, a lot of criticism. So artificial intelligence, basically, if you get a hard time, it means you kind of receive a lot of criticism and you have to battle against the negativity there. Okay, so artificial intelligence sometimes gets a hard time. I think so. Especially in Hollywood, with many films showing robots taking over the world. Okay, that's another way that AI gets a hard time. Because we see them in movies, and almost every movie, I think, something happens with the AI. The robots are out of control, or the robots decide to battle against humans. I can't think of any movies, except for Disney movies, where robots are kind of a good thing. I haven't seen all movies though, so please let me know if there's a movie with, a good robot, except for like Wall-E or some other Disney movies. Yeah, so they get a hard time. It's difficult for them to overcome this criticism. But experts say that these machines and technology, they can be a huge force for good. A force for good, meaning they can do a lot of good in the world. A huge force for good. They can do good. They can do good things. They can create and improve jobs. Okay, yeah. They can improve safety. Okay, yeah, maybe. Healthcare. Yeah, I have a student who is a doctor, and she was saying how machines can help her in her, in her daily life by doing just small tasks like checking blood samples or something. Something really small that takes a lot of time that robots could do quite easily. So yeah, healthcare. I was surprised by that. And education. Well, we'll see. So the first digital teacher, this guy. Okay, look at those eyes. Students before have told me that the eyes are the thing that look not human. So the rest of him looks like he could be a real human, right? But the eyes. Okay, so let's read from here. Clickety click. Meet Will. Believe it or not, Will isn't human. I believe it. But he is the first digital teacher and is only real in your computer. Okay, this is a great phrase. Believe it or not. We use this in conversation all the time. And it means, maybe you'll believe it, maybe you won't believe it. But let me tell you something surprising. So we usually use this before we have some surprising news or some surprising fact. So for example, believe it or not, I got 100% on my maths test. Now, if you know me, you know I'm terrible at maths, so maybe you don't believe that, but it's a truth. So believe it or not, and then you have some true fact that's kind of surprising that people might not believe. Let's scroll down. Let's read this next paragraph here. Clickety click. Will is going to teach primary school children in New Zealand. He can interact with students on a computer, tablet, or mobile phone, and has been teaching kids about the environment and renewable energy. Okay, a couple of things here. Primary school is, let's see, about 5 or 6 years old until 11 or 12 years old. Okay, in the UK and also in New Zealand. They have a similar system, it seems. So kind of elementary school, I believe. So Will is going to teach those people, those children, He can interact, okay, interact by like speaking or, actions. He can do all of that with students on any device, any of these gadgets or devices. And he's already been teaching children, that's a good synonym, teaching them about the environment and renewable energy. That's great. Renewable energy. What is renewable energy? It's a big topic these days, so probably you know, but it's various types of energy that we can get from nature. So for example, solar panels, which gather energy from the sun. We also have wind energy, wind turbines, they're called. We have a lot of those in the UK because there's a lot of wind. And we also have things like hydropower. Okay, renewable means you can use them over and over and over again. Things like oil, you can't use over and over again. There is a specific amount. Okay, and when it runs out, it runs out. We don't have it anymore. So it's not renewable. Okay, let's read the next part from here. He can respond to the answers given by children and can react to their body language. During Will's trial, the children said, "If we smile at him, he smiles back to us." Okay, so from this part, we have the words body language. Body language is exactly as it sounds. So kind of expressing yourself or communicating with your body. Okay, there's many ways to do this. People have studies on body language as well. So if you sit with your arms open, you're kind of relaxed. If you're kind of like this, you're not so relaxed. Various other ways you can kind of communicate your emotions through your body. So during the trial, Will's trial, so kind of a test period, the children said, "If we smile at him, he smiles back to us." What do you think about this? Because I think it's a little creepy. If I am taught by a robot teacher, I kind of want it to look not like a human. Because I just imagine that, robots that look like humans can one day become part of society. They can join us, and then I can have robots that are friends. But, robots can be hacked, and it's just a scary thing for me. And it's probably because of what I've seen in movies and on TV. That's probably what it is. But this, even though it's good technology, it still seems a little creepy to me, a little scary. But again, tell me what you think. Okay, scrolling down, we have holographic lecturers. Like we said before, hologram. Hologram is a noun, and holographic is the adjective. Okay, and lecturers, these are people who lecture, who teach, but usually on quite a high level. So university teachers. We wouldn't call them teachers. We call them lecturers. Okay, let me read this next section. Perhaps taking inspiration from New Zealand, some university classes in London are to be given a futuristic spin by showing lecturers as holograms. Ooh. This is not so creepy for me, not so scary, because it's not a robot. It's just a projection. These days, people are having a lot of lectures online, and it's basically the same thing, except for your lecturer is a 3D version rather than just on your screen. I think it's a great thing. So let's have a look at some of these words. University classes in London, pronunciation for London. Okay, people always say London because of the spelling. I understand, London. But actually this part here is the schwa-e sound. London. Okay, so it's kind of a shorter ending. London. Shorter like that. I have done a video on the schwa E sound if you're interested, so please check it out. And you can find more examples of the schwa E sound just to make your pronunciation more natural. But I thought I'd say it here just because we've come across one that people often mistake. Yeah, London. Okay. So the classes will be given a futuristic spin. So making it more futuristic, basically. More like what we would imagine the future to be like, but it's happening now. So giving it a futuristic spin. Futuristic is the adjective, and give something a spin means to give it just a little bit of something. Give it a little bit of a taste of the future. Okay, give something a spin. Okay, lecturers as holograms. I wouldn't mind that. All right, let's read the next part from here. Imperial College London has been testing the technology and say that expert guests from all over the world will be able to deliver classes without having to travel. Yes, this is great. Because when I was a university student, I was reading all these books about English language, and there was one lecturer that I found really, not lecturer, professor, that I found really, really interesting. And whenever I watched him on YouTube or something, I thought, he's just great. And I want to go to one of his lectures one day. I never did. So if I were in those classes and I could just have a hologram of him lecturing, oh, that would just be great. So I think this is a fantastic thing, personally. They don't have to travel anywhere. They can be anywhere at any time, all across the world. That's just perfect. All right, last paragraph or sentence in this case. A similar effect has been used to animate images of Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, and other famous celebrities. Yeah, so here we have Michael Jackson. Looks like real life. These 3D images, these holograms, very cool. At least I think this is a hologram picture. Yeah, so imagine you can just be in your living room and your favorite celebrities can be, favorite comedian can be doing their set to you, or their your favorite artist can be singing and dancing with an audience of one, you. That would be so good, in my opinion. Okay, oh, it's him again. It's Will again. All right, Will doesn't look so happy in this picture, but maybe the students didn't do their homework. Yeah, so looking at this, we have Will here, and we have a question. Would you like a digital teacher? This is great. Okay, this is why Newsround is kind of more fun, I think. Newsround is a great resource. You can really interact on this website. Would you like a digital teacher? You can say your opinion. That's great. Let me know in the comments below what your opinion is. But for now, what do I think? Yes, it would be really cool to learn from a digital teacher. Maybe. No, I really like my teachers. They know me properly and help me with my work. That's a good argument, I think. Teachers are humans. They can respond to emotions. They know when the student is maybe not feeling so great today, or there's something wrong. They can really be emotionally intelligent. So that's a really good kind of pro to having a real teacher. Maybe I think a digital teacher could help human teachers, especially in large classrooms. Ah, yes, this could be pretty good. So you have a huge class. You can't help everyone at the same time. You're just one teacher, one human. So if you could send a couple off to sit with Will and learn about the environment with Will, maybe. I'm going to put my vote here. And if I click here, we can see who agrees with me. Well, 43% say no, let's not have a digital teacher. 24% say it would be cool. They think it would be great. 33% are more like me. Maybe we can't really decide. So tell me who you agree with. It'd be really interesting to see if I can do a poll of my own. Who is, which is the best option for you guys. That will be quite interesting. Let's scroll down for some more. Will robots take human jobs? Well, to be honest, they already have, right? I don't know about in your country, but in the UK, we have a lot of self-service machines. And especially in the supermarket, go to the supermarket and you scan your own items, you put them in your bag, and you do need a human around because almost always the machine doesn't work properly. So humans are still necessary, but not as many humans as before. Staff, I should say staff, not humans. They are humans, but there's also a video on here if you're interested, if that's kind of the way you learn better. We won't do that today, but it is available for those of you who have a little extra time. I'll leave the link above, below, everywhere. You can find it. So scrolling down, we have a spot the difference. Which of these guys is the human? Quick quiz. Which one is the human? The guy on the left, the guy on the right? What do you think? I always forget which one it is. So I mean, personally, the one on the right looks more human. The one on the left looks a little faded, a little too white. So I'm thinking this is technology. I think this is the AI. Let's scroll down to see the answer. One of these men is a real news reporter. The other is computer generated. So generated, made by the computer, made on a computer. In case you're still wondering, the guy on the left is the real deal, while the man on the right is the AI version. The real deal means he's real, it's authentic. We use real deal quite a lot, I think. For example, if you have a Chanel bag, someone might say, oh, look, it's Chanel. I like your bag. And that person might say, yeah, it's the real deal. I paid a lot for it, basically. So it's the real deal means it's actually Chanel. It's not a fake version. Okay, so the guy on the left is the real deal. I'm always surprised. I've read this article a few times, but I am still always surprised. It doesn't look real, right? That's my opinion. This guy looks real, but maybe he looks too perfect. Maybe that's the difference. Not sure. But there we go. Let's read on from here. China's state news agency unveiled this virtual newsreader last week. Okay, unveiled means, well, this word comes from, a long time ago when they would have, well, they still do this sometimes, but maybe you have like a new statue or a new painting and it's under a big cloth. Okay, this big cloth we call a veil. And to unveil means to take the cloth off and reveal what's underneath. So in this case, it's a little bit metaphorical. It's a little bit of a metaphor, meaning it's not literally true, not literal. We're not literally taking the cloth off of the virtual person because you can't. It's on the computer screen. So not literally, but metaphorically revealing this newsreader. Okay. Last part for this section. Wearing a sharp suit and speaking with a robotic voice. Xinhua maybe. Xinhua News claims the presenter can read texts as naturally as a professional news anchor. Okay, a couple of things here. Sharp suit. Sharp means, well dressed. If you're dressed smart, if you're dressed sharply, if you're a sharp dresser, it means kind of professional, everything's perfect, sharp. We usually use it for men, to be honest, because men wear suits and we tend to say, oh, you're looking sharp today. You're looking sharp. If everything's kind of neat and perfect and hair and sharp. So wearing a sharp suit and speaking with a robotic voice. Oh no, robotic voice. But this news channel, I assume, they claim, so they say basically, they say that the presenter can read these texts very naturally. So that's what they say. We don't know if it's true or not, okay, because they're just claiming it. Okay, news anchor as well. So that's the news presenter, the person who reads the news in the morning. So news anchor. Good. Robots in space. More robots. Robots are everywhere. Robots. Let's see. Robots in space. Well, I think everyone knows there's been robots in space for a long time. But this is the ExoMars rover. And he will search for signs of life. That's another topic, isn't it? Is there life out there on Mars, on Venus, Jupiter, on other planets? That's a topic for another day. But so we've got robots in space. Of course, it's very harsh conditions in space. So robots, perfect, right? Humans, they can easily get sick, easily, you know, well, it's very dangerous, right? So robots, that's a good way to go, I think. Let me read this sentence. NASA and other space agencies have been using robots to explore other worlds for years. Yeah, I think everyone knows that's been the case. Okay, let's scroll down here. Europe and Russia are the latest to send a robot rover to Mars in 2020. The machine will search for signs of life on the red planet. Okay, so that's already, I mean, that happened a while ago. Maybe there's been some updates since then. Not sure. But they sent a robot rover to Mars. Okay, the big red planet. Looking for signs of life. So signs of life can be anything from, just a small organism, very small, like cell, or, a little sprout from a tree, from a little plant, anything. Water's a sign of life. Okay, scrolling down. Robots are ideal for space travel as they are better able to survive the harsh environments of other planets. They're also cheaper and safer than sending people on long and potentially dangerous outer space missions. Okay, that's what I said, right? That's kind of what I was talking about before. Robots are ideal. They're perfect. Yeah, ideal, perfect. For space travel, they're better able to survive the harsh environments. Harsh. This harsh means kind of difficult, hard environment, hard to survive in. So kind of difficult environment, difficult surroundings to live in. They can do that because they're robots. They're also cheaper. Okay, yeah. In general, robots are cheaper, I think, than humans. I think that's why a lot of supermarkets have self-service machines instead of hiring people. It's cheaper and it's safer. In this case, safer than sending people on long and potentially dangerous. Potentially means kind of perhaps, like we're not sure, but it can be dangerous, basically. So it can be dangerous. It's potentially dangerous. Outer space missions. Okay. I think this is the last section. Would you watch a robot sports team? Okay. Well, if you're interested, check out this video. You can see them playing football. I believe it's a rather slow game. And I think in the future it could be a big thing. But for now, I quite enjoy watching people play. Yeah, and I think people enjoy following the lives and the development of other people rather than robots. I feel like it's got a sense of competition, more competition. Okay, so check these out if you're interested. Okay, let's read this last, these two here. If a football manager described his team's performance as robotic, that wouldn't normally be a good thing. Yeah. So football in this case, in the UK, football, other places they might say soccer. Okay, soccer manager described, so he explained that his team's performance was robotic. Okay, robotic. Again, it's a kind of metaphor here. Not literally a robot, but robotic, the adjective, meaning kind of what you can imagine, like kind of very stiff movements, not flexible. Yeah, you got to be flexible in the game of football, I believe. Yeah, so if you're robotic, not normally a good thing. Yeah. Oh, let's read this next part. But these players can't really help it because they're robots. This isn't like a game of FIFA. The robots' movements aren't controlled by human players. They're using artificial intelligence technology to learn how to play better all by themselves. Okay, so these players can't help being robotic because they're robots. This isn't like a game of FIFA. I think people know FIFA from all over the world, but if you're not familiar, it's just a football game you play on a games console, Xbox or PlayStation. I'm not really sure. So the robot's movements aren't controlled by human players. So if you're playing on Xbox, usually you control the players with your controller. But actually, these robots are using AI, artificial intelligence, to learn how to play better all by themselves. So I'm not sure how they do this, but the robots are learning by themselves. So there's no real human input. So maybe they watch a game by, I don't know, Chelsea versus Liverpool, I don't know, football, and they learn some of the moves, they learn how to kick it properly. If you kick it this way, it goes here, like that. Okay, so they're using artificial intelligence. They learn by themselves. Okay, it's good technology, but it still sounds a bit scary to me. Are robots making life easier? Well, to be honest, I mean, computers have already made lives much easier, right? Computers, internet, Wi-Fi, made lives easier, more convenient. We don't even have to leave our houses anymore. Just order food online. Oh, I need a new desk, which I did recently. Order online. Okay, everything's order online. So yeah, the internet technology, it's made lives easier. But has it made life better? That's another question entirely. So here we have some pizza robot. Let's read this last part here. So, why not take a break from the AI football with a halftime snack? Oh yeah. On the menu, a nice slice of pizza cooked and prepared by a robot chef. After the match, you could be driven home in a driverless car, all while a robot cleans your house while you're out. Like it or not, AI, robots, and holograms are no longer just characters from science fiction movies. Many are now science fact and a part of everyday life. Sounds creepy. But if you want to take a break from the AI football, have a halftime snack. Halftime is probably, you can guess, half of the match has finished. And gives the players a bit of a break and gives you a bit of a break. On the menu, a nice slice of pizza cooked and prepared by a robot chef. Yeah, I don't like the idea of robots replacing chefs, but I was curious one time and I went to a robot cafe where a big robot arm, would pour water over the coffee beans. And I will say the coffee was not the best, but I was still very impressed. And it took a long time, but I was still very impressed. And after the match, you could be driven home in a driverless car. like we said. Self-driving vehicle, driverless, less meaning without a driverless car. All while a robot cleans your house. Well, people already have this technology. I don't know how good it is, but it's a small disc. And when you're out at work, your robot can just go around the house and then, oh, there's a wall. I must turn around. And then it cleans the whole house for you. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, we're moving towards robots in everyday life. Maybe we already have robots in everyday life. I guess so. Siri is a robot. And I guess Alexa is also a robot. And yeah, we are being taught by robots as well. If any of you have one of those apps where you type in the English word, or one of those English teaching apps or language teaching apps, that's basically a robot teaching you a language. So we're already kind of having this in real life already, but how far will it go? I don't know. Well, that's the end of our article. So I hope you enjoyed this topic. I thought it was quite a fun topic to start with. And again, I recommend that you go to bbc.co.uk/newsround for more accessible news stories. The topic this time was not too difficult, but if you get a more difficult topic like politics or the environment, sometimes Newsround is better. It can help to explain some of those difficult concepts in a really easy way. So I recommend you have a look at Newsround. You can always find some topics you can enjoy, and it will build your vocabulary and, yeah, make you more aware of other kinds of news, I suppose. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time, maybe for another article. Thank you very much. Goodbye.